are streaming the city of Springwood. Now, for those who have been following this city, I believe this is our 9th or 10th episode, but we've definitely been going for a while. This valley down here, which we've been developing as a residential area, has started to explode. I put down in the last episode, we dealt with some graveyard issues that we were having, so we put down some crematoriums, and almost immediately this area started springing to life, and it's just been growing and growing and growing, and so that's really exciting. I'm very happy that this residential area down here is starting to I guess blossom. It's starting to bloom. If we go up here, this is an area that we've done a little bit of work on. It's this the second area that you can get on and off the freeway, at least on the main side of the city. But you can see we're also starting to get a little bit of density. Again, starting in the residential neighborhoods, but hopefully at some point soon it will start to spread out here to some of the offices. And you can see actually some of these buildings are definitely a little bit taller than some of the other ones that are in this area. So we are definitely expanding this area of the city. We do have a long way to go out here. So this is, I don't like how this just sort of ends at this point. I understand this is a new area of the city, but we will expand it out that way, and we have some infrastructure in place to do that. If you remember in the last episode, we worked on constructing a harbor down here and bringing the railroad out to connect to the harbor. We also did a little bit of work with the buses and really connected everything up in the city. So that's been going really well. The last thing I wanted to show off today was that we had started to get a little bit of density here in our office space. So all these buildings right here are new. So this area, as I mentioned, this is office space. This was one of the first office spaces that we developed in the entire city. And so I guess it is fitting that it is also the first office area to really start getting some large-scale buildings down here. So I'm really excited. I think that this part of the city is really coming together. If you look at the way that these beautiful buildings, the way that they work with some of the old style buildings, I just think it's really, really wonderful. So we're going to continue expanding this area, and it sort of brings me to what I wanted to show you for today. So we have this beautiful downtown area, and it's really starting to expand and grow. We are really getting some density in this city, and our population's starting to show that. We have almost 40,000 people, but we're not growing very fast. And we could do a couple things about that. We could expand the city south, which I think is a great option, and we're going to get down there eventually. But I think that we also want to start looking at what's going on here with some of this farmland and the way that it is interacting with the city. And I know this farm, I love this farm. I love this farm. Look how nice it is. It's these beautiful little farms and houses just outside of the city. We have a soccer field over here, some windmills. It's really picturesque, and it is right next to the city. The city is just encroaching in on this farmland, and I don't know how sustainable it is. So we are going to start filling a little bit of it in. So we're going to start mostly right here. I've been looking at these blocks as something that we can really work on. I think we'll start here by just connecting some of the roads, making sure that we have a way to get to and from this area of the city. I can make a little diagonal road there. Excuse me while I get some water. And then we're gonna upgrade these roads because this is a big city now, so we need some actual paved roads. And to make up for it, to treat this area a little nice, I think maybe we'll even put some trees to line the streets in sort of paying homage to this area's recent history as a farm. People also just tend to really like these roads, and we have about $500,000 sitting in our bank, so it's not something I'm too worried about. It does, we do have to spend a little bit of money, but it makes people in the area really happy, and I think that that's going to pay some dividends when we start getting down to business here. So we have a few different zones that we need to take care of, but I think the easiest way is just going to say D-zone everything. Just get out of here. We don't need this low-density residential. We don't need this farmland. But we do want to look at what we have around in the neighborhood. So we do have some high-density residential here and a little bit of high-density commercial down here. We do have, I believe this is a mall, and some residential and some commercial. So we have a little bit of a line that is dividing the city up right now. Excuse me. Some of the demand that we have looks like we definitely have some demand for our office space. So we'll put a few offices down here. I really like bringing in offices, and we also have some demand for some residential, so we're going to make sure that there is space for all of that. Hopefully these people won't mind that there is a farm right across the street from them, and hopefully the farms won't mind that there's some high density residential moving in just across the street. But we also, you'll notice this is new. This is our stadium. I figured it was fitting that it be out here next to all of the farms, and was part of the impetus for wanting to work down here. I'm sure people are just screaming at me about this. So I know I saw those abandoned earlier. I wasn't sure why, and now that I see all the flashing water signs or water symbols there, I understand what's going on. Hopefully we'll be able to get rid of that for a little while, but it looks like this area is growing in nicely, and it's building some high density stuff right away. So we're just skipping right into really building up the city and hopefully growing the population. So speaking of growing the population and the growth of this city, I got a new mod, and I wanted to show this to you. So this is the city statistics. And this gives us a quick way from the taskbar down here of looking at statistics about the city. So we can look, for example, at the treasury. This is the amount of money that we've had saved up, and it's been very high. And then we've had some big spendings sprees. We did go on a bit of a spending spree last time when we built out the harbor and that district. So we're sort of building up some money right now. And when you look at some of the other things, we're also sort of at a little bit of a plateau with our population. We've had a couple really big bumps and a small area of decline. So it looks like we're sort of plateaued at the moment, but hopefully this new high-density residential will allow more residents to come into the city. You can also look at things like tourism. If we look here, the amount of tourists that we have dramatically went up. That's about the time that we added the railroad. And you can see right here, as we added the port and the harbor as well, we also got another bump. So that's pretty exciting. You can also look our offices. We've been growing our office space a lot, and we haven't been growing our residential as much, at least not in proportion. And when you start looking at how residential is compared to the two others, especially with industrial, we've been losing industrial, and we just lost a little bit as well. I I think it's clear why we're not seeing as big of a growth rate right now as we could. I think if we built a lot more residential, we would really see the city start to expand again and go into a bit of a boom phase. That being said, down here's pretty packed. We can look at the area, we can purchase this area, and that's something that we've been looking at doing for a little while now, so we'll just go ahead and purchase that. That does give us 6 squares, and it means that we can expand out a little bit that way, which I think would be really nice. In a couple episodes, we'll focus on building a little logging area out here, maybe a little community out here by the border, but something that's not as urban as this area here. We're also going to be expanding down to the bottom portion of the map, and I think that that's the big area that we want to start focusing on next, especially if we want to build up the residential base of the town. So we don't have a huge demand right now for residential space, so I don't think that now is necessarily the time, but pretty soon I think we'll expand and we'll build some suburbs here, maybe something a little low density. We'll see if we can get this little downward trend in our population to change. But for now, I hope that you've enjoyed your time here in Springwood. I hope that you've been enjoying the series so far. If you have, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. But thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I'm Grishno, and I'll see you later.